Hello, my wonderful survivors. It's me, Delilah Survivor, and I'm going to give a shout out to my crazy number 5 who told me to make sure I add that wonderful survivors and give him a shout out. So, shout out number 5. You better like this video, by the way. Okay, so I know I've said I may have notes for chapter 3, but I guess my daughter didn't find anything. I just knew she was going to mention the fact that my earring kept falling out. So I'm just go ahead and correct that. My bad. Like I don't know. It's too much work to put them on. So yeah, it did kept falling out. I kept trying to put it back in. My bad. So okay. Now we're going to move along to like my high school years. So number 1, I was excited that we were finally moving out the neighborhood we lived in. Number 1, I felt like everybody there was related to each other. Number 2, I just thought it was time for a change. Like, I got sick of having to go to the store for my mother. Even though, I didn't mind going to the stores. I'm not going to say the name of the stores, but I didn't mind going to them. Especially, because she would say, okay, well, you and your brother have $1. Or you and your brother, we had whatever. That's back when things was cheap. But I was excited for our new house. My own bedroom was like the biggest part. So, yeah, I was excited. The only thing I didn't like was the fact now that we moved and it was closer to the high school, I now had to walk to school. No more cheese bus. That's the biggest thing I miss, was that yellow cheese bus. And I wish I could go back. And then the one time walking to school, that snow. Hated it. So yeah, high school was fun. And like my first time. We ain't gonna talk about how old I was my first time. But I was a little bit mad that the dude, which is another reason why I wanted to move out that neighborhood, the dude I had my first time with ended up telling everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean it's like he went to the basketball court right afterwards and told everybody. Because I had people coming up saying stuff to me. Ooh, Didi, blah, blah, blah. Ooh, I didn't know, da, 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 da. Okay, stop it. Just stop it. So anyway, not going to record that. Y'all heard what I said. I might have said my actual name, but I don't care. So, I'm, number 1, people don't understand. I am very book smart. I used to love to write, love to read. I would write my own little stories. I would read the craziest of books just because if we had like a project to do. I remember one time I did The Color Purple, and it's true. When you read a book versus watching a movie, they add more detail in the book. So, like when I say brain smart, I was brain smart. I worked through all my credits, so therefore in my senior year, and by now this was like after I quit working at the movie theater. Without, I can say that part. I was working at the movie theater. I was like 15 years old, maybe, back when you had to have a work permit signed out. I don't know if they still do that now, but back when you had to have a work slip filled out. Like one day, my mother was there to pick me up, and they was like, oh no, you still gotta do this or whatever. I was like, no I don't. So I gladly took off that penguin suit. I gladly took off that bow tie, took off that vest, and said, here y'all go, I quit. Got in the car, my mother, and said, I just quit. Because I wasn't staying no longer. Okay, so then later on, I get a job at an ice cream restaurant. Y'all, I'm pretty sure y'all already know. It's Friendly's. But I got to work there. And so, like I said, I'm very, very book smart. When it came to my senior year in high school, I only had like 2 credits left. So therefore, that meant I went to school for two classes, and then a cheese bus would come pick us up, pick up the kids that, had jobs. They'd either take us to our job if we had to work that day, and if we didn't have to work that day, they would take us as close to our home as they could. And then once that semester was over, once those credits was done, I had my manager, because they said we can get out in January, still participate in all the other good stuff, but we can get out in January if we were either full-time working or started classes in the college. So I had my manager lie for me. I said, can you just lie and fill? So she filled out the paperwork. So therefore I got out in January. Thank God, because I'm not a school person. I ain't doing no after school activities. I don't want to be part of no clubs. I want to be in and out. In and out, in and out. So I was in January, thankfully. I was able to be out. I did the whole senior portrait thing. I went to my prom, of course. Regret that. Boy, do I regret. I regret my prom date. I regret that. I just regret the whole thing. Like, it was in a castle. One thing I really remember about the prom, because I really don't remember much but the castle and the fact that they played Vanilla Ice. Ice, Ice Baby. What? What are we doing here? And so, yeah, I'm thinking about to die. So, let's go a little further down the line. I decided to, since I was working and my mother was okay with it, I said I was going to take a year off and then go to college, the little community college that was around the corner from my house. So she was okay with that. But with in between and that little break, it was this older guy. Yeah. I've tried my chances before, but this time I get pregnant. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I think I said it in the first video, how I told her, wrote a nice little letter, got that my baby shower on Tupac's birthday. Then a week later, here comes number one. Love of my life. All five of love of my life, but love of my life. So now I'm a mother. And not just a mother to a healthy baby, but later on, he started having issues and sicknesses I didn't understand. So like he had to go on special medication because when he was a baby, like changing Pampers with him he put me through a lot of Pampers. Because I'm changing the Pamper. As I'm changing the Pamper, he's still releasing. As I'm like, little boy, you gonna go work for Huggies so we can afford your Pampers. So I only say I was a big Huggies only fan. So, like I said, the light of my life, joy in my heart, easiest in the world. I guess it was too easy. I guess I was too spoiled. Because here it come again. I'm thinking I'm safe. I'm good. I was on the depot shot. Took every shot like I was supposed to. We're going to clump my two babies together. And here it goes. Again. I'm like, I'm on birth control. I used a former method with the first one. And once again, I use a method. And I feel it. I just know I am. Wasn't no balling taking the test because, I just recently went through the first one. So therefore, I knew I was. But this one, I didn't tell nobody. Nobody at all. I kept it to myself. Instead, that's it. It just stayed to me. I even went to a prom. And I was pregnant with number 2. Now, number 2, completely different from number 1. put him in a stroller, try to walk to the store with my best friend, and he want to be crying and like, oh my God, we gotta take him. We gotta turn him back around. I can't deal. So like, at one of his checkups with his pediatrician, she was like, maybe we should swallow him more, like make it tight, like he's still in the womb. Thankfully, that did work. So it wasn't as hard to take him outside. And by this time, I was working, I don't know, I think I had quit my second job, but I had 2 jobs at one point. But by now, I was assistant manager at the hat store in the mall. So like, literally, because nobody knew, like, they didn't even notice that I stopped wearing the female form fit t-shirts to now wearing just a regular heavy t-shirt. And like I said, I went to the prom and I'm taking pictures. I'm like trying to see if I can hold it in, but you can still see a little pouch. Like you can still, I can tell. I tried to even have the little shawl thing going on, trying to hide it. But I was told that we had to redo the senior portraits because I went to my best friend prom to try to make up for my wet prom. But the pictures had to be redone because the pregnant belly was showing. Just a little pudge. And I think her eyes was closed or something like that. I can't remember. So we had to redo the prom pictures. Finally. Number one, mind you, I don't know what I'm going to do because I have yet to tell anybody. And then it's like, I calculated when, okay, I conceived from the same time I did with the first child. So that means he should be due round about the first child. No, I don't know if it was from all the stress or what. But one day I'm laying in my bed watching TV. I'm feeling like cramping. But not the kind of cramping I had with number 1. So I'm like, what the heck? So I go down. I don't tell my mother. Mind you, her room was just right across from mine. I don't tell her. I just go downstairs to the living room. I'm punching on the couch. Like, oh my God. When I tell you my pain tolerance is high, it's high. So when it comes to the defibrillator in my heart, it's high. So I'm like, oh my God, what is it? What is it? What is it? So I'm like, oh, maybe I gotta go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom. I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm, kind of pushing because it feels, all right, it's time to push. So as I'm pushing, I'm like, wait a minute. That's not that. That's a head down there. So I hopped in the bathtub, turned on the water. He came out. Thank God there was no complications, but he came out head first. And like, the butt was towards me. So I turned him around. I said, oh, yay, it's a boy. I was excited. It's a boy. So my mother, she was still in the house. I had to swallow him up, put him in number 1 old playpen, because I did not want to tell her yet. Because, I had other plans. Because number 1 wasn't even a year old yet. Like, literally, he was a preemie. Number 2 was a preemie. Born 5 pounds. So, finally, that's what happened. After she go to work, that's when I call 911. And I'm calling all these agencies or whatever. They're like, no, you both need to get to a hospital. So I'm like, oh my God. So they send the ambulance to my house. 2 of them. Because he was in one, I was in one. Mind you, baby number 1 was with me. Of course, there was no babysitter. My mother was at work. And my neighbor saw everything. And my neighbor, she doesn't drive. So at that time, she walks to my mother's job. good little hike, mind you. She walks to my mother's job and tell her, she just had a baby. I saw the hospitals. I saw the ambulance take her. And I think she asked one of the EMTs what hospital was I going to, because somehow she was able to tell my mother what hospital I was at. So I'm like, oh my God. So I'm sitting there. Now she come in and she's like in complete shock. Oh my God, Dee Dee, what's going on? And I told her I signed some paperwork to put him up for adoption. She's like going crazy kind of thing. She's like, and it's a boy, you know how I feel about boys. And like, I'm looking at her like she's seriously like going through it. So then, like I said, he was the only one of all my children that I said, I don't want him to go to the nursery. I want him in the room with me. So I'm talking to my mother on the phone. Oh my God, why would you want to have him in the room with you when you know what your plans are? I said, I just want to spend this time with him. So I go home. Number one, it feels weird because it's not like the first time. Because the first time, I was holding a car seat on my lap, being wheelchaired out to the car. This time, it's just me being wheelchaired to the car and my baby's still at the hospital. I go home, just like the first time. I was like, well, you gotta stay on the first floor because you can't climb the steps. And like the first floor also had a bathroom. And the thing about that was, I think I came home like a Saturday, and like Sunday, my mother and brother, because we went to church like every Sunday, my mother and brother, they was headed to church. I had to stay home. So every morning before we would go, well, I don't know if it was every morning or just this morning. I just know for sure this morning we stood there and said a prayer. And my brother didn't even want to touch my hand. Like, he had no parts of it. So I go to the bathroom, which is the bathroom where I gave birth to him. And I just start bawling out, crying. And I'm like, I can't do this. This is not me. I don't know if I'm being weak or selfish, but this is not me. So when they came home from church, and mind you, I had already made up my mind. So when they came home from church, I needed a name. And I wanted him to have my initials, just like my first son did. So I asked my mother and brother, what should his name be? It has to start with the D. So they gave me the name. And which is funny because that was always the name that my mother used to joke around when me and my brother was younger. That if she had another child and it was a boy, she was going to name him this. So basically, she just switched it on over to my child. And then my best friend from middle school up was like, well, the middle name could be this name. You know, a J name. Which is also the same name as a famous basketball player. But his name was short, sweet, and simple. My oldest, his seemed like it was a little bit longer. He had a lot more letters in all his names. But I said, hey, I like it. So I called the people, like, look, I want my baby. They're like, is anybody pressuring you to do this? Are you sure? We don't want you to do this on a... I said, no, I just want my baby. This is my decision. So they try to make it as hard as possible. Well, you have to come here within between this time, and you have to have a car seat. But, sweetheart, I already got the car seat from number one. I trust. My mother borrows my mother friend lets her hold her car. We hightailing up to the freaking hospital. So went to the hospital. They gave me the letter that the parents who had them wrote out for me, which I thought was sweet. And they was like, this I will share. They was like, it's the only name you might ever hear me sharing. Oh, and I slipped up the first with my name, but whatever. It was like, They was like, we called him Luke. Like, Luke? Don't like Luke at all. No. So gave him the name that me, my family, and friends came up with. Because I wasn't feeling that Luke name. Until this day, me and number 2 joke about it. Because he knows the story. I try to be upfront and a non-hypocrite with my kids. Like, I couldn't get upset if they had a baby or got somebody pregnant or whatever at like 17, 18, because, you know, that's what I did. I couldn't, like, certain things I just don't get mad at them about if I know I did it. So therefore, I'm going to give you each birth story, but this is just a little bit of my parenting, period. But like I said, y'all cuss, don't do it around me. That's all I ask. Now, number 2, he likes to do music. So I let his slide. Even though when he let me listen to a song and he know what line's about to come up, he like blah 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 blah, like trying to blank out or scramble up the sound of him cussing because he don't want me to hear it. But it wasn't like I was right there and you was disrespecting me. It was like I did so much cussing in middle school. I used to say every single cuss word in one sentence. I used to be like, sugar honey tea, B, F, mother F, all that. Just because, if I felt like it at the time. So my whole issue with that is, you want to, be with your little buddies and yeah, okay, that's fine. But in my face, around me, you will not use none of them words. Much respect to your mother. What you do with your homeboys, homegirls, no parents, adults around, kids gonna do what they want to do. I know I sure did. So I wasn't sweating it. But okay, guys, that's 1 and 2 of the births in chapter 4. On chapter 5, I'll be discussing me meeting who I thought was the man of my dreams. I had 2 children with him. So it might be a meeting the man of my dreams and baby number 3. Looks like baby number 3 will be in there because, everything moved fast with the person I thought was the man of my dreams. So I'm about to end this video. Sorry guys if my eyebrows looking a little rough. I have been yet to go get them threaded because I don't know. I need a new thread lady because the first thread lady, my eyebrows lasted where I went a whole month without having to get my eyebrows done. This go round, I'm like, they need to be done. So now I'm debating on wax or thread. I'm thinking threading again, but then part of me like waxing. I don't know. And of course, like y'all know, this time I actually did because it's just a hoodie. I wore King number 2's merch, like bro. And like I always told you before, he has the pull over hoodies. He has the zip up hoodies. He has the shirts. He have some phone cases. He has like bro. I blink on the hoodies and t-shirts. He have t-shirts that say just like water in the sun. He have t-shirts with this new anime guy. I know a lot of y'all are heavy into anime. And then like he runs different sales. He's just like, other stores, whatever. Like he might run a Christmas sale. He might run a Black Friday sale. He might run a 4th of July sale. Maybe I can talk him into running close to his birthday kind of sale since it's near one of the holidays. Like, well, how about you throw this sale? I can't remember which holiday it is near his birthday. But I'm like, you should run a sale that day. I'm going to have the link in the description. But like I always say, it's store.streamelements/water2rsxbl. Please, like I said, go help my young king And I'm going to end this video now. Just like water in the sun, I'm out of here, coach.